Hey everybody, it's Zero Tolerance 55. I'm here with another Star Wars The Old Republic Explained. After the first video, I got a lot of good positive feedback from it, so I figure I'll keep this going to get, everyone some more information because, to be honest, I really enjoyed doing that last video and I had fun with it. So, here's the second part of this series, and this is going to explain the backstory of the game. The Old Republic is such a story-based game with all the, cinematics and everything that if you know the backstory, it'll make you enjoy the game 10 times more. You'll know what's going on. You won't feel confused. You will understand a whole hell of a lot more. Star Wars' website does a very good job at explaining it all. They have a bunch of videos. The only problem with that is if you add them all up, it's a total of 45 minutes. And I don't know that many people that would watch a 45-minute video to explain the backstory of a game. So what I figured is I'm going to take the same information and try to cram it into 10 minutes. Granted, I'm going to cut out a lot of stuff, but I'm cutting out a lot of stuff that I feel is like filler, stuff you don't need to know. So that being said, I'm going to explain a lot of things people have questions about, like who everyone is, why the galaxy's at war, how there can be a thing as a pureblood Sith as a race, why the Jedi aren't on Coruscant, a bunch of stuff like that, but I'm going to do it all without spoiling any aspect of the game. I'm going to do it, spoiler free, and hopefully you come out of this with some information you did not have. So I'm just going to go ahead and hop right into it and get this video going. Alright, so Star Wars The Old Republic takes place 3,600 years before the original Star Wars. That being said, disregard all the characters you know and love from either the prequels and the original trilogy. None of them are around yet. All you gotta know is it's in the same universe, same laws apply, the dark side, light side, Republic, Sith. You just gotta know that the same rules apply. To explain it even farther, I'm gonna go back to when the Jedi first came around, because this will explain a lot. It seems irrelevant right now, but trust me, it comes full circle. When the Jedi first came around, they came around on a planet called Tython. Well, when they came around, they started experimenting with the Force once they discovered it. Well, naturally, you had the ones that took advantage of the light side of the Force and those that took advantage of the dark side of the Force. Well, as you can imagine, the two eventually go to war because it's inevitable. For every good, there's an evil. For every light, there's a dark. It was going to happen. The two go to war. The war gets really bloody, and the Sith get really bloodthirsty during this war. And I just screwed up calling them the Sith. Disregard that. They're the Dark Jedi at this point. Well, after the war's over, the Jedi strip the Dark Jedi of their weapons and send them in unarmed ships to wander the galaxy to ponder the error of their ways and so they can figure out where they went wrong. Well, after a while, these unarmed Dark Jedi crash on Korriban, which, as you know, is the homeworld of the Sith. If you did not know that, I'm going to assume you will find that out very quickly, and I just told you so. They get on Korriban, and once they're there, they discover a race of people called the Sith. They're humanoids. They're red. They are very, very strong in the Force, even though they don't know how to control it. So the Dark Jedi and these Sith species, these pureblood Sith, as they're known to called, basically become one people. And the Dark Jedi teach them their ways. The Sith, integrate into the Dark Jedi's culture, the Dark Jedi's integrate into the Sith culture. They kind of live together, and eventually they forget about the Republic that banished them. And likewise, the Republic forgets about the Dark Jedi they sent, off to be on their own. Well, a lot of time passes, and eventually two people from the Republic stumble upon Korriban. Well, when that happens, the memory floodgates open, and now the overall Sith, which is what I'm going to call the mixture of the Dark Jedi and the pureblood Sith, the Sith see this as a sign of aggression, and then decide to invade the galaxy and pay back because they were being spied upon. Well, this war gets really bloody, gets really nasty, but the Jedi ultimately prevail. Well, when this happens, the Supreme Chancellor of the Republic decides that the Sith cannot be allowed to be left alive because this could happen again. So he orders the Republic military to exterminate the Sith, which, in hindsight, is kind of interesting because it's the exact opposite of what happens thousands of years later. Palpatine and Vader decide to wipe out the Jedi and order the military to wipe out the Jedi. So I just think it's interesting that you're seeing the flip side of this happening thousands of years before. So you got to kind of wonder if there's ulterior motives with Palpatine to get revenge for all this. Anyway, besides the point. So during this extermination of the Sith, one Sith escapes with his followers. And he stumbles across the lost planet of Droman Kos after about 20 years. And once he gets on Droman Kos, he decides he wants revenge. So he starts building up a new Sith empire with himself at the head of it, declaring himself the Sith Emperor. Now, this is one thing people get confused about. This is not Palpatine from the movies. The Sith Emperor is merely the guy who rallied the Sith after they were exterminated. He regrouped and started rebuilding the Sith Empire and just declared himself the leader of it. Like I said, it's not Palpatine, because I've heard a lot of people ask how he can be alive thousands of years before the movies, and I hope that I cleared that up just now. So, when this all happens, you have the Sith Empire, which is made up of mainly humans and what's left of the pure-blood Sith. A lot of them got wiped out during that the First War. So, whatever's left, they start building this thing, and they hang back. They just sit in the shadows and wait for their chance to strike. And if you played Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2, this game takes place 300 years after this. Well, the Sith Emperor sparked the Mandalorian Wars from Knights of the Old Republic 1 or 2. He's the one who got the Mandalorians to rise up against the Republic. So the Mandalorians rise up against the Republic. It starts this whole new bloody war. The Jedi do not want to intervene, but two of their people, Revan and Malak, decide to intervene and basically turn the tide and win the Mandalorian War. Well, as they're hunting down the Mandalorians and the cause of the war, they stumble across the Emperor, which is, in a sense, why they turn to the dark side. But that's a different story. If you want to hear more about the storyline of Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2, let me know, and I'll be free to make a video on it. But anyway, so this Emperor started the Mandalorian Wars to weaken the Republic, and he did a damn good job at it. Now, granted, that was 300 years before this game. The Emperor is taking advantage of all this dark power surrounding him by these dark Jedi, and he's putting himself in almost a stasis where he's aging slowly. I know it's far-fetched, but hey, it's a Star Wars game. They've never been, 100% accurate. But let's put it this way, dude's really old. So anyway, after a while, after the Mandalorian Wars, the Emperor decides to strike. The Sith invade the galaxy with an unrelenting force, and the Republic's caught completely off guard. They never saw it coming. Well, the Sith sweep in, recapture Korriban, which was their main goal. And not only that, they take over about half the galaxy before, by some strange turn of events, the Sith offer the Republic a peace treaty. And the Republic, even though they're skeptical, the Senate and the Jedi decide they have to accept the treaty because there's no way they can win the war. So they decide to meet up with the Sith delegates to discuss the treaty. While that's going on, the Sith jump into the Coruscant system and just thrash Coruscant and destroy the Jedi Temple, killing all the Jedi inside. Well, despite that, the treaty is still signed, and the peace resumes throughout the galaxy. There's the two sides with their guns pointed at each other, but there's peace. The Jedi, however, are blamed for the Sith Empire's rise, and they, in a sense, leave Coruscant and rebuild on Tython to, kind of meditate and rebuild their forces. So that explains why the Jedi aren't on Coruscant anymore. At this point in the game, you jump in with the galaxy still at a stalemate. There's the tree going on, but each side's pushing for a new war. So I hope I explained it all. I explained a lot of what's going on. I'm getting close to 10 minutes, so I'm trying to wrap this up. But if you have any more information, any more questions, feel free to send me a message on YouTube or even comment on this video. But once again, thank you for watching. My next video, I'm going to explain the factions and the basics of each class. So stay tuned for that. Like I said, thanks for watching. Subscribe if you enjoyed. I really enjoyed doing these videos, so I'm looking forward to hearing your guys' feedback. So thanks for watching.